Hello everybody, today I have the pleasure to propose to you this key 32 and key 12 among our practice part. This one, the title is Let It Go. So concretely is not let it go in the sense of empty your mind, is more the fact to be angry, but to be angry and to, let's say, accept it, okay? So sounds to be a little bit weird and not really conversational for, let's say, personal development, for awakening, spirituality, holistic dimension. We are complete. We are, as human beings, we are in a process of finding back our divinity, but most of us, we have, like yin, yang, ida, pingala, we have two polarities, feminine, masculine, positive, negative. This is the principle of the struggle, the inner struggle that we call in Arabic jihad, which is internal. It is an inner battle against you demon, your devil, and your angel. So the goal is not to feed you demon, but to avoid inner conflicts. The goal is to accept that it's normal process. Sometimes we can be upset. We are not permanent people, okay? And by the way, if you are permanent, if you see, the encephalogram, it means you are dead. We are human beings, we have amplitudes, okay? We are happy, we are unhappy, and so on. It's like this, it's fluctuating, it's the beauty of life. If you are always happy, you don't see what's happiness, okay? This is the Garden of Eden, by the way. They extract themselves in terms of metaphor or holy text, whatever, holy scripture. But the fact is, concretely, to accept these bad moments. The bad weather highlights the sun, okay? And this is true for everything. When you feel it, when there is, it's heavy, it's gonna be rain, okay, during summer and so on. It's good. It's good to release. So the goal is not to pretend, not to be hypocrites, but to be honest. Honest with you is a process of know thyself and you will know the secret of God and the universe. Is it in this Greek philosophy and in general, all religion, all spirituality, normally, initially, at the essence of the text, invite everybody, every seekers to know, okay? The weaknesses and your forces, okay? So concretely, this is the fact when you are, your cup, okay, is full. And if your cup is full, you empty it, okay? So what does it mean? It means that it is, I insist drastically, is when you are out of your nerves to avoid a non-return point, to avoid the drama that you kill people, for instance. It is good sometimes to release, okay? To release is like draining in a certain extent, okay? To be frank with you, I don't necessarily believe in a sanitized spirituality. In which sense? In the sense that we are always positive, always happy, always tolerant. Okay, if some people can afford, they can be successful for that, that's fine. But if it's just a pretension, just to pretend for other people, for the image and so on, this is another story. It means that they will have a kind of inner anger, not officially, but it is unconsciously. So it's never good. It means that they are not balanced, okay? So this is our animal part, our wild part. We have a reptilian wild dimension. Everybody, and even very peaceful people, is capable to become a devil, is capable to become a murderer. If someone arrives and wants to rape your wife, kill your kids in front of you and so on, or do it, obviously there is big chances that you become a murderer or you get crazy and you're a hater, okay? Even if you are extremely peaceful and so on, and balanced at the beginning, okay? So this is really extreme. But you can see the violence that we can see through alcohol. A lot of people, we say in Latin, in vino veritas, in the wine, the reality. It means that you unveil your deep side, okay, dark side and a normal side, okay, your higher self or your downer self in a certain extent. But some people, they're super nice normally, and when they get drunk, they become very violent, aggressive, sarcastic, and so on. I know some friends of mine in the past, and they remained remote. One of them, it was when I was young. He was really violent, always a bit like hooligan, you know, and he was a very nice guy, but it was tiring to go out with him because every time you say, oh, how are we going to finish the night? You don't want to fight, you are not absolutely like this. Or another one, it was really in the sarcasm, in the sense provocating people and so on. This is not pleasant. This is not pleasant. And it was strange because it was after midnight, like after a certain period of time when he was completely drunk. It was shifting like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It was exactly the same. Well, anyway, he remained almost alone due to that. So the violence is, let's say, inherent to human beings. We can consider that nobody is perfect. Perfection is not from this world. Perfection is divine, we could say, okay? It's the unity. We can aspire like an exponential you never reach. Huh? It's, you flirt with the edge, but you never touch it, okay? So, and do you know a lot of perfect people? Personally, I don't. And those who pretend to be very calm and so on. You know, the psychopaths, most of the time, they're very gentle. They are very calm. And even when they kill someone, okay, they don't have any emotion. They are very calm, and this is strange, by the way. But, or there is some, for example, testimonies of people saying, oh, I don't know what's happening. Well, it's extreme, huh? He killed all his family. But he was always calm, very nice, and so on. Why? Because he was, let's say, unconsciously, he was not balanced. Okay? So, this is, also, of course, extreme. Well, another example for you to understand the principle of let it go, and then we will see, of course, the reason for being, and after that, some technique and some advice, is if you do a survey among the planets, religious, unreligious, believer or not, is not the point. But the top 3 of the most peaceful people are, without the other, let's say Buddha, Gandhi, and Jesus Christ. Okay? Okay, Jesus Christ is supposed to be a kind of, to reach a point of divinity on earth. Buddha, in a certain extent, also, and so on. Well, anyway, Gandhi, modern prophets we can consider, a saint. Okay? No question of debate, just for you to understand the principle. But even Jesus, okay, even the Jesus, according to the story, the Holy Bible, the Scripture, we don't believe is not my point. It's just the archetype, okay? Apparently, if you know the story, he chased the merchants from temple, okay? What is it concretely? The story, I make it short. This is some people, okay, merchants, okay. So the owner of the law, okay, some priest and so on, and they sell the cults. Concretely, only those who are able to pay can enter into the temple, okay, the synagogue. So for Jesus, it's absolutely unacceptable because for him, it's for free. The access is everywhere, and this is really some human perception, and it is not fair. So in the story and in the Holy Bible, it's written like this. He gets literally crazy. He starts to create a kind of whip, and he fights with people. He unturned the tables and so on. He pulled a mess. He's really violent. He shouts and so on. He insults them. He say offspring of vipers and so on. It's violence. And even his let's say the apostles, the disciples are afraid. They say, he's crazy. is the devil, is not is the Satan, okay, is not the Messiah, okay. So, but why? Because he's upset and he really wants to show a certain. I'm not saying that in favor of violence is not the point, and that I recommend that is not at all what I want to say. I'm just saying that even one of the top 3 of the human beings on Earth embodying peace, peaceful aspect, peaceful human beings, even this person, character, have been sometime in the past upset. So this is natural. So no need to say, to ignore, to repress it and so on. It is natural. This is really my point, and that's why I want to insist. So what's the reason for being? Okay, so let it go. And to the field of application. But the first one is to avoid to enter in a somatic dimension. Somatic, concretely, your mind impact the quality of your health, your body, okay? So literally, it means that you have risk if you are always angry and you don't release it to create disease, okay? Disease, you are not at ease anymore, okay? So you will have cancer of stomach and so on, or whatever, and it's not good at all, okay? Of course. Second point, it's avoid the drama, okay? Drama, extreme, I don't know, separation, breakouts, you say, or you kill people, of course, this is really extreme, but, or instantly you say things that you regret after, but you break something in a relationship, couple, friendly relationship, whatever, but this is actually something, it's a pity. Okay, so then also to avoid to break relationship in general, even if it's not so violent, it's never good to go to show bad images, you know. So, and then the goal is really to, the principle and the idea is to uncharge. Okay, you are angry. Okay, as a matter of fact, it means that you are full of negativity. So the goal is like, you know, a massage, okay? You just press the muscles when you have a cramp and you press. So it's quite painful when you do that. And after that, you feel release. Sometimes in Asia, the massage are quite heavy and but after you feel completely better. So it's the same principle. So the goal is to depressure, it's to uncharge, to take out the nerves in a certain extent of a bad energy, okay? So this is the reason why. Then the techniques, I give you 10 different ones. The first one is, that's what we do in Qigong, and that's why you have some monsters in front of the temples and also on the cathedral and so on and so forth. So concretely, this is like really strange, but actually it's just to catch the negativity, okay? It's to avoid negativity. You know, a vaccine, concretely, it is a little bit of the disease that you inject in your blood to stimulate your immune system, and like this you are more resistant, okay? So concretely it's the same principle. In Qigong, we start like this, for example, like this, so I look like ridiculous, of course, but it's not a big deal, and you unrelease, okay? You release yourself and like this, okay? Quite long time, and so it's distress your face, okay? It's like a face yoga, and also it allows you to discharge the negativity and so on and so forth, okay? So the goal is really like this, to take it out, the negativity and so on, okay? So one of them is this. The second one is to write when you are angry, write why you are angry. And you reproach with bad words, whatever the grammar, if you do spelling mistake, it's not the big deal, it's not the goal. I mean, it's just to take it out, this energy. You put on paper and then you burn it, okay? Like this, as a symbol, is supposed to release step by step. You can do 0 times, okay? Third technique is to visualize like a piece of theater. Okay, you imagine you want to say really the truth and what you keep here to your boss, to your manager, to your colleague, and so on. And you visualize the scene and you say, you can say in your mind, and you can also do like fiction in front of, I don't know, in front of your wall. You can also take a record, whatever, but at least, honestly, even that is like fantasy. It's not to do it, but it allows to release a kind of energy. So I invite you to test. Fourth one is to shout. Okay, so just two drawbacks and advice thereby. Try to do it in a remote place, okay, in the forest and so on, because if you do it in an apartment with your neighborhood, you have great chance that they knock on the door or police arrive or they think they are afraid about the fact you get crazy and so on, or there is a drama or something wrong, okay? So, but, and also another drawback is you have big chance to have a Barry White voice during 24 hours. You can also affect your throat, so it can be a little bit dangerous. So, but honestly, when you do it, afterwards you feel definitely better. Fifth technique, which is a little bit softer, is the same except that you do in the water. So a pool, or even in a bath, or in a water, okay? You do it, it can be wherever, you put your face in the water, okay? And you shout. You will not be affected by your throats, and honestly, it releases you drastically. Personally, I do it, I mean, regularly when I need it. Sixth technique is, and honestly, this is something I used to have since I live in Shanghai, with responsibility and so on. Those who know a little bit, if you are Western, if you are German, and you are really organized, structured, and so on, not everybody in the world has the same notion of commitment, respect of deadline, and so on, so forth. Okay? If you understand what I mean, a word to the wise. What do I mean thereby? It's just the fact that it's happened that it's like a headache, okay? And we had a lot of situations for which you have big projects, you are committed towards your clients and so on, and people are not respectful, they are not professional and so on, and you are just super upset, okay? So how to do? In that case, I bought a punching ball, okay? And honestly, it was really, really good. Use some gloves, of course, to avoid to break something. But, and if you don't have money enough, you can also do it in a pillow. But honestly, do it, punch, maximum and so on. Do it 3 minutes, you will see. You will sweat like crazy and so on. The fact I told you, the breath, take it out, the toxin and emotional toxin as well. And then you feel better. Put the picture of the person, for example, or for fun, but do it. Try to punch, okay? And then you will feel release, honestly. Another way is to go for a run, but not like marathon, huh? Like a sprint, okay? You run like crazy, like, I don't know, Carl Lewis, like really as much as you can, as if you were doing Olympic Games. Like, honestly, you are at the maximum, so no need to do 10 kilometers, of course not. If you don't you are not used to, after, let's say, 300 meters, you will be completely exhausted. You will be completely out. And then, so you hyperventilate, and then also you will be tired and you feel a release as well. I invite you to do this. It's worked quite well, frankly speaking. Another advice, the eighth one, is to cry. Okay, the Cure song "Boys Don't Cry," this is, for me, bullshit. This is crap. Sorry to be vulgar, but honestly, this is the archetypes of the man of cave. Okay, it's the archetype of we are strong and we are man and so on. This is bullshit. Why? Because honestly, due to that, it creates violence also. So crying is natural. Imagine that Mother Earth, I mean nature, create the fact that when you cry and the kids are doing more, you hyperventilate. For example, the kids, most of the time, they cry. When you do that, you oxygenate. So you have endorphins naturally. It's like a caress from mommy. It's like a hug for mommy. And if you don't have mommy, if you are alone, at least it allows you to feel better. It's a natural compensation. So crying is good for health. Okay, it's good for the tears are good for cleaning. So it's like a storm. A storm. Okay, you feel it's very heavy, and then it's rain, it's rain, it's rain, it's rain, and then there is nothing to rain, okay? And also to admire the beauty, the magnificence of a rainbow, you need rain plus the sun, okay? So it's two pieces of the same middle. If you are always happy, you don't see the happiness anymore. It was the Eden of Garden, okay? Adam and Eve, the archetype, or if we believe in as a reality, but anyway, whatever. This is, if you are always happy in the unity and so on, if you are always light, you don't see darkness and you cannot see the light. If I put sunglasses yellow, I don't see the yellow color. Yellow color becomes a normality. You can see light thanks to a support, thanks to the darkness. This is the notion of duality, referring to the first key if you want to watch it. Okay, so this is important to accept the fact that, okay, it will go away. It's just a question. You are not the sadness. You don't embody sadness. You are punctually sad, okay? You have some sorrow, so discharge it. Don't refrain for crying. Don't interrupt someone who is crying. You need to empty. You know, it doesn't mean you cannot give a hug and a caress and so on. It's not that. But don't stop. Do it until the end. Try to touch the bottom to take some impulse. Okay, when you go down like this in a swimming pool or in a lake and so on, only when you touch the bottom, you can take an impulse. It's the same principle. Another example, sorry for the parallel, but when you really want to pee, okay, you pee, okay. If someone interrupts you, I cannot pee here, okay. It's difficult and it's bad for health, okay. So it's the same principle. Release, 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 empty yourself. After a while, there is nothing anymore. I lived it for breakouts. My heart was broken and I was alone and so on. I was crying, crying. You can fall asleep because you are tired of crying and you don't have anything anymore to cry, okay? So, and then you sleep as a baby and you wake up, you feel finally better and your problem is still there, your pain can be still there, but it's a question of time. When you endured, okay, only times heal is the same principle. For grief, a grief is natural, it's good to cry, okay? You can cry. That's why most of the culture recommend 2 years of grief. It's not for the pleasure to, no, it's not this, but just to keep in mind. So I know some cases, when I was a kid, by the way, we were maybe 10 years old and we were surprised because a girl, she didn't cry for the father funeral. And then, so it was like crazy, but she was crying for a little tiny thing, you know, for, I don't know, a toy and so on. And why? It was not good because it was too much emotion inside, actually. So once again, is not try to cry as much as you can, but if you need to cry, don't refrain from this. Personally, being hypersensitive since my childhood, and I've been traumatized in '84 in early years by the images I could see in Ethiopia, and I went there to discharge this in 2016. I saw the famine, I saw some kids and so on, and I was young, and I was crying, and then afterwards, I cried many times because I was feeling like collective consciousness, and I was crying on the fears of the past and the present time from humanity, like there's kids, there's poor kids of the wars, of the past, the genocide and so on, all this kind of thing from the past. And it was like transmutation, it means literally to it is in alchemy normally, but transmuting an energy means from negativity you turn into gold, not gold like a physical gold, it's a divine gold. This is in Hebrew is aur. Aur is the same etymology in Arabic, in Semitic language. Aur in Hebrew is the divine light that we can see in the Kabbalah, in the Zohar, holy texts, okay, from the 13th century after Jesus Christ. But Kabbalah exists for more than almost, it's from almost Abraham and from the beginning, so it's 5,000 years ago. So, and even more probably. So, and it is exactly the same in Arabic. In Arabic, El-Nur. El-Nur is one of the 99 names of God, and there is a hidden one. That's why the hidden one is unpronounceable. It's hidden, probably here in our heart, and it's personal for anybody. That's why also the Jewish cannot give a name to God, Yahweh, but just as a substitute. Normally they cannot. You see, so it's the same principle. So Nur, Aur, El-Nur, Nur is the same. Actually, is the transmuting something negative to something positive into divine light. Okay, so I used to do that to recycle the energy of the planet. So I'm not saying that you need to do that. I'm not saying that. But for the hypersensitivity, it's a good tool that I found for myself. It was working for myself. Maybe it can work for yourself. So, and also another point, by crying, I discover a positive things by crying. It's good to cry. And by the way, there is a hedge, because you have crying in the fact you are sad, and also happiness. Okay, you won a championship and so on. Yeah, you have a kid, or I don't know, a good news and so on, a diploma. Yeah, you cry because full of emotion. So it's really a hedge, a negativity, positivity, but also even in a negativity. In the French literature, this is what we call spleen, Baudelaire, Dubélé, and so on. It's like, if you know Paris, Montmartre. So you have the gray, let's say the gray sky, and there is the melody and so on. In the Portuguese culture, this is what we call saudade. Saudade, it means the nostalgia, basically. And the fado is the music, cultural music, folklore, is crying, is like from the past, the glorious past and so on. And it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. And there is a beauty by crying. Let's take the archetype of the girls, or even some boys, and probably as well, who just imagine Saturday night, okay, let's do a girl party and a pyjama party, and we're gonna watch a drama, a romance and drama, eating some ice cream, for instance. Is really an archetype that you can see in the movies and the video and the series and so on. But a lot of people like to do that. And I discover there is a pleasure. There is a pleasure by crying, honestly. And that's why I recommend also in that case to listen even sad music and so on, and there is a pleasure. Honestly, when I create characters for my books and so on, I really feel them. They don't exist just in my imagination or like archetypes. And yeah, I cried. I cried many times, and even if I know the story, I wrote it. I mean, I've been probably the humble scribe, if you see what I mean. I just let it go. It's just like channeling. But what I try to tell you is that, yeah, I have emotions, and emotions, once again, is life. Okay, so I invite you really not to refrain from crying. It's good for health. Okay, then you will feel release. Another point is what we are called the marathon of bad words. Okay, what is it concretely? You do a test, 1 minute, if you can exceed more, but even if you can do 20 seconds is amazing, 30 second congratulations and so on. And you say bad words, okay? Fuck, well, I'm not gonna tell them. My vocabulary is not so bad. I'm pretty sure if you're a native English speaker, it's even better. But okay, and you will see, because in my native language, French, of course, I have quite a good vocabulary. But even that, in French, I set word after 30 seconds. I repeat always the same, almost. And we are quite limited. So even if you repeat ceaselessly, okay, after a while, you're like tired. You're exhausted about that. Okay, so I invite you to do the test. It's fun at the end because you have big chance also to, if you record and so on, someone observe you that you finally had a big laugh. So it's a good release and a good, let's say, reward at the end. Hyperventilation, I told you, and it's referring to the key 23 or the third practice, practical key. Hyperventilation, there is many techniques, but this one, for instance, you are very upset, and the proof is when you are upset, what do? You see, it's fragmented, your breathing is not stable, so, and you breath, you inhale deeply, just to try to find back, okay? And actually, the release is when you exhale, okay? So, I invite you to hyperventilate like this. Let's do the test. You do like this. And as long as you want. I will not do 1 minute, but I invite you to do 30 seconds, 1 minute. Try to be laid down or to avoid to fall down, because you can also to be dizzy after that. But you do exactly like this. Okay, I just did it a few seconds, you saw. I was not doing the actor. I have a space mountain, okay? You can imagine if you do longer, and I swear to you, okay. It's like a shooter, huh? It's like I don't smoke and I don't recommend any drugs. I don't take drugs, I don't drink alcohol, but same effect, okay? So I invite you to do the test, okay? Not too much, not so often. It's not to run away from reality, but at least, yes, indeed, it brings you a kind of calmness, peace. After you do these tests, these techniques, I invite you to do a meditation. Once you are calmer, you do a meditation, you recenter, you reactivate your good energy. After the bad weather comes from the sun, okay? There is always somewhere the sun and somewhere the blue sky. Keep this in mind. This is punctual. You are angry, be angry. Be the anger, the maximum, and then you will feel released. Some advice. Know to express yourself. We will see a communication for that with empathy, compassion, and so on, but also a good communication. Express, put everything on table. Don't avoid to let, putrefaction of the, to worsen a situation, okay? To keep like this and you didn't say what you are really here and so on. Avoid that, okay? And to reach the non-written points. Know yourself, know thyself, and you will know the secret of the universe. And the quotes is the same principle, introspection. All the philosophy, all normally spirituality invite you as inner gazing, an inner work to know yourself. You know your moments, you know when you are upset. React after the storm, okay? React after the tornado, okay? You can write, you are completely upset, you read an email, write it if you want, and you are upset. I do it, this, but don't send it, okay? Just, okay, go for running, go do something different, go to sleep afterwards and so on, wait for tomorrow, a few hours and so on, release, and then read what you wrote. And probably you will laugh and you say, finally it was better. You know that's, by the way, if you go like this, the reaction force doesn't work anymore, okay? This is the third advice, is to apply mindfulness when you feel that you start to be upset. And you observe, you know, it's like you're normal, and then, ooh, I take it, ooh, and then like this, okay? And like non-written point, for example, is here. So you feel it, you feel it, you feel it, you feel it, you know, like water, you know, water is like this, okay. Okay, observe. Does it worth it that you get completely crazy? You try to rational. It's bad for health. If there is a conflict, nobody wants to piss you off, most of the time. Some people did wrong is because of misunderstanding. It's a question of no feedback. It's a question of whatever, okay? But does it worth it? If you shout, if you go to the fight and so on, you will have the boomerang effect, okay? So postpone or discuss, express yourself. You know, this is really hard situation now. It's like management or whatever. It's really, you show why you could be upset and why, how to, it's pragmatic, okay? It's like diplomacy. The diplomacy for governments is to talk, to sit on the table, we are mature, we are adults, and to avoid to go to war. Same for unions with the boss and so on, the direction for a company, to avoid to go to strike, okay? To avoid a demonstration because everybody is losing time, money, energy, and so on. So analyze and try to analyze. Because I told you, when you analyze your behavior during the day, actually you have a certain detachment. You like the actor and the observer, the spectator of your life, and sometimes you can say, ah, okay, I play a role. I pretend to be unhappy. Does it touch me that much, and so on. Okay, so I invite you to practice that, because once again, there is no dissociation. Oh, I do a good meditation, I'm gentle, and so on. And then I behave completely different during, the working day, for instance. Then another point is don't, last advice, don't try. I recommend not to pretend to be, you know, the higher self and an image, a superhero, if you're not able, if it's not your true nature. Why? Because what's the point? You want to be an actor, you want to have a sanitized life and so on. It doesn't mean that if you're capricious, you have bad character, you don't make effort. It's not that. This is extreme. It's not that. It's not really linked to personality. It's linked to your mood. Accept yourself. Okay, accept yourself. What does it mean? It means personally. I give you an example. It's not good, bad. It's like this. I am like this. Sometimes I like when it's not always, sorry, same. Vulgarity sometimes, the fact to be a bit, let's say, light, let's say, to say, not really deep sometimes, you know, sometimes intellectual masturbation, as we say in French. Okay, always being serious, always to be boring. Yeah, it can be boring, you know. So I like deep, sometimes shallow. I like football. I like, oh no, I'm like this, okay? So accept yourself. Don't pretend to read books because you like, because people will think and so on. Don't create an image, okay? You can have example, icons, and so on, mentors. Yes, you can aspire to be closer to certain people, but don't change radically what you are. And this is basically the true I am. Well, I invite you to meditate on this video, on the different elements, to try the different techniques, and also to accept yourself. And this is one key. This is only for you to shape your master key, to open up the doors of consciousness that you wish, that you want, and it's really up to you. All right, as you know, all the roads lead to Rome and to Rome. Thank you for your attention, and see you very soon.